Hello, this is Richie from PlayStationCountry.com, and today we're taking a look at UFC 2, or to give its full name, EA Sports UFC 2. And this is out on PlayStation 4, and it's been out for a while, but we're a little bit lazy, but also we have been getting really deep into the game, so I figured it was time for a bit more of a meaningful review than all of the day one shit that you're probably seeing a month ago. So much like the previous game, UFC 2 is all about the authenticity and trying to recreate the live UFC Fight Night experience. And it goes pretty strong with this flavour because straight away it puts you into the co-main event of UFC 187 from last year, which was a tremendous fight between the champion, Robbie Lawler, and the challenger, Rory McDonald. And this fight actually ending in the fifth round with Rory McDonald's nose being turned into powder and him collapsing in pain. So what the game does, it puts you into that fifth round pretty much as a tutorial, and it's just kind of getting you to do some basic strikes. You play as Robbie Lawler and you get the pleasure of finishing Rory McDonald, and which is quite good because he's a bit of a twat in real life. And as you can see right away, the game looks great. Now the previous game did as well, but they've really worked on kind of the physics, especially the crumpling over in pain physics, as you saw there. The knockouts are really good. And if this was just a stand-up game, then it would be maybe the best fighter on the market, because the complexity of the stand-up game on offer here is really good, with all of the punches and knees and kicks and spinning kicks and elbows and God knows whatever else that you could possibly want. Feels good, it looks good, it's just phenomenal. But mixed martial arts isn't all about that, and so the game has to give you a bit of everything. So you have obviously the stand-up stuff, you also have clinching like you see here and takedowns, and then when you're on top there's this whole grappling sort of sub-game which is all about the QTEs, and it's you working towards better positions and then from those positions getting into submission attempts. And this is a little harder to figure out and even harder to pull off in an actual fight. It's not the worst system ever, and it does work. It takes some practice because you really have to kind of know what direction you're going to go in next. And I guess just like training jiu-jitsu in real life, you kind of have to know what the positions are, and over time you can learn them, but it's not really worthwhile because pretty much every fight is going to be finished in this game by way of stand-up, and so that's where you're best off practicing. Now when it comes to practice, you obviously get your training sub-games like this one, and these can take you through all the different aspects of MMA, and it's really good, and it helps build up your stats in career mode and pretty much define what sort of fighter you want. So here we've got PSC Cruz, my created fighter, PSC standing for PlayStation Country, and he looks like me if I was in much better shape and a lot younger. The game has lots and lots of modes. The single player is pretty much based around career mode, which starts you off in the Ultimate Fighter House, which is the reality TV show that UFC runs to find new talent. And then you'll kind of progress through that, hopefully making your way into the proper UFC, up the rankings until you fight for a title. And this is all great, and that's where you're really going to learn how to play this game. You can't just kind of figure it out straight away. You've got to really kind of figure out what the range is of a fight and how to kind of get out of submission battles and how to keep the fight standing or how to take it where you want it to be. It's kind of like real fighting in that respect, and that's what they're going for, and it does work. And what's good is, as you saw in this footage here, you can be getting absolutely dominated and then work for position, get on top and start messing someone's face up. It's all very bloody, all very visceral, and it feels great. Beyond the career mode, you also have the online modes, which are, you know, they're okay. They're certainly responsive, but people do kind of play a little bit cheaply, and you'll find people clinching you and kneeing you in the stomach until you learn to defend it. That seems to be the kind of go-to winning strategy at the moment online. But you also have the game's version of the Ultimate Team mode, which was the sort of thing you saw in FIFA that would see you earning stickers by playing matches, and then in that game you'd get new players, and it'd be quite exciting if you got a really good player. But in this, you're just earning new moves and sort of stat boosts. It's not quite as satisfying, not quite as good, and probably something that you might want to stay away from, or you might get super addicted to it. I've played a fair bit of it and it's not the one. There's also a live event mode which lets you actually pick how you think real UFC fights are going to go and then play through them and earn coins that way for Ultimate Team. That's quite a nice idea. There's also a knockout mode which is really arcadey, has no grappling at all, and lets you just fight until you take kind of 5 big shots and that will finish either you or your opponent. So that's good. But for the main thing, it's really just a really good fighting game that is kind of physical and visceral, and it's also intelligent. There's lots to learn, and you can also just punch Bruce Lee in the face really, really horribly, and if you want to do that, then that's good also. Anyway, check us out on PlayStationCountry.com because this is over.